I am scared that someone might perceive me XYZ, however that looks like for you. I'm scared that if I do this, I will lose all my money. I'm scared that if I book a photographer, it might not work out. This is real fears. These are legitimately real fears. Do you want to stay grounded, less triggered, less annoyed, and mindful throughout your wedding process? Well then, welcome. You've come to the right place. Hi lovelies, welcome back to our channel, and I'm super excited to introduce to you a brand new series, The Little Book of Mindful Wedding Planning, Ebook Walkthrough. I have linked the ebook in the description below where you can grab your own copy. In this series, we'll explore and dive deep into each chapter. So, if you're getting married or is close to someone who is getting married, or is just altogether into mindfulness, then this series is for you. Join us every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we journey through the little book of mindful wedding planning, chapter by chapter. Before we get on this week's chapter, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can never miss an episode. Together, we'll create moments of mindfulness amidst the demands of wedding planning. Hi lovelies, welcome back to another episode. Today we're on chapter 19, the scared list. Let me read on. Let's be honest, there are fears that we carry around that make our daily life, especially during wedding planning, much harder than it should be. What are your fears? Make a list of them. Here's how. This is the table that you can make. It's basically what we're doing here is we're breaking down the fears. Like, what is really your fear? What we're doing here is not only analyzing and putting our fear into perspective, but also feeling it, like understanding, why am I reacting this way? What am I really scared about? What are my fears? What are you afraid of? Let's break it down. Here is a great example of how we broke things down. You can essentially make your own table similar to this, but this is something that I usually use for me. This is what I've done in the past. And I also like those the electric notebooks, and where you can delete everything after, because sometimes you just want to see it. Obviously, you kind of want it to be private as well. You don't want everyone to see it unless you want to share it with your partner. That's also a great idea. So both of you can sit down and talk about it and tackle what it is really that's bothering you, because that will affect everything in your relationship as well as the wedding planning journey. As you can see in the table, I started with the fear. And then what's the worst that can happen? If it does, and then what? What if it actually works out? Then what? As you fill this out, you'll notice that towards the end, the last column, you'll see it's going to say, then what? You'll realize that most of the answers in there are things you can't control anyways. Some things you can't control. Some things are choices that people make for themselves. If you've done everything, if you've tried your best, you've been kind, you've tried to work things out, give ideas, speak yourself kindly. If you've done all that, the other person or the other group or whatever the case may be for you, it's already their choice what to feel about it, how to feel about it. You can give the kindness comment to someone. They can either take it, oh, that's so kind, thank you, or
What do you mean by that? Like, that's not good enough? Or like, what do you mean? Is that a backhanded compliment?
you just never know. That's something that you can't control. As you're filling this out, the first column where it says the fear, try and avoid using blanket negative statements like,
I am never ever gonna make things work. I am the worst person. I am the worst communicator. I am not creative. I will never be creative. I am just the worst.
like all this lines, similar lines to that. Avoid using that. I know it's not really easy because sometimes we go into this space of just like, oh, things are just never going to work out. Then what's the point of this table? But we know that that's not what we're here for. We're not here to tell ourselves that things are not going to work out. We're here to see, okay, how can I make things work? So that's the intention for this. This is the example of the table. You'll see that the fear is my mother-in-law might think I'm wasting money. Because sometimes they do. It's hard to say that that's true based probably from some comments that were made to you by your mother-in-law, or some instances where you found that if you spend this amount of money to her, that would mean a waste of money. That would mean like wasting it. The second column is what's the worst that can happen. She will actually think I'm wasting money and resent me. If it does, then what? Even after I share with her some budget comparisons so she can understand industry pricing, she will still think I'm wasting money and will still resent me for the rest of my life. Okay, let's not go too extreme. I don't think it's healthy to think that someone's going to resent you for the rest of their life. Also, again, that's really not up to you. You can do your best. If someone decides to resent you, I can't control anybody anymore. You just can't. What if it actually works out? We didn't waste money. She's okay with things, and I'll have the best wedding, which you will have regardless. Then what? We didn't waste money. We enjoyed our wedding, and my mother-in-law is still my mother-in-law, and she might actually still resent me even when things worked out. If you see in this breakdown, you've done your best. Like it's saying here that you've already showed her your comparison. Sometimes I think so too. Something that we really have to understand when we're sharing these things to other people when they haven't been married or when they are not in the wedding industry. It's hard for them to anchor the prices that you tell them. So if you tell them, oh, I found a photographer for like $6,000 for 5 hours.
They're just like, what? Chris, how would you pay a photographer for $6,000?
But for us in the wedding industry, for you who have done your research, for you who have done your research, who have spoken to other vendors, who have spoken to other people who have booked other photographers and have realized what went wrong or what went right. That's your research. This is what came about from your research for looking for the people that will represent you best at your wedding. It's hard to say that, oh, $6,000 is so expensive. That's just ridiculous. You shouldn't spend that amount of money. But what is your anchor cost? Who are you anchoring this cost to? What is the basis? You can show her, and that's what I mentioned earlier, where I've showed her some budget comparisons, that is the pricing out there. Like you can't expect to buy a car nowadays for under $20,000 for a new car. Like that's just not an expectation you're gonna have. I mean, you want to buy a used car, maybe. Hopefully not a lemon. But if you want to buy a used car, yeah, under 20 makes sense. But if you're going to buy a new car, you're not going to go in there thinking, yeah, I'm only going to spend $10,000.
Sis, where?
By the way, if you find a new car for $10,000, please hit me up. I would like to buy 3. But we know that that's not the industry pricing. If I haven't been car shopping, I wouldn't know. Well, I haven't been, but we renew our lease, so I know. But if I haven't been in deep dive into the car industry, I won't understand the pricing, how the servicing works, how everything works. I don't know. So if you can tell me, oh yeah, I bought a new car for like $40,000, I'm just like, what? That's so expensive. But if you tell me just like, and I know the price, I'd be just like, oh yeah, cool, that's nice. Show me the car. Let me read on. Look at the things you can't control. You can give everything your mother-in-law wants. But if she chooses to resent you, she will. You can, of course, from the goodness of your own heart, try your best to understand her concerns and help her out. But whatever best you've given is all you can give. We're going to have to live with those things that we cannot control. Let's avoid using words like never ever, for the rest of my life, I'm the worst, and the like. We've mentioned this earlier. Blanket negative statements like these will hinder us from looking at solutions since we already decided our fate. There are also a lot of free journaling templates online that can help you let your fears out and feel your feelings. Talk about your fears and help you manage them. I am scared that someone might perceive me XYZ, however that looks like for you. I'm scared that if I do this, I will lose all my money. I'm scared that if I book a photographer, it might not work out. These are real fears. These are legitimately real fears. But we can't really avoid them, can we? We have to sit down with it, look at it, approach it, find ways to navigate around it. And it's funny. I don't know who I was talking to. And
You're just like, oh, Maria, these are all the Lulu steps. Like, you don't need to do all that. Just be strong and just do it.
And that really worked out sometimes, right? You just have to face it. Yeah, it's just what it is. You just have to deal with it. But to a degree, it will get to a point that it will no longer be sustainable because you will be so exhausted and you don't have the tools on how to navigate that if you're always just going to absorb that. And eventually, you're going to run out and you're going to resent people. You're going to be annoyed every time. Your patience is going to run out. But when you journal, when you write these fears, and when you understand what it is really that your heart, your mind, your soul is telling you, like, yeah, that's pretty scary. Yeah, I don't know if I want to book that venue for like 30 grand. I don't know. What if we use up all our money? Like, how are we going to, if you plan to buy a house, how are we going to buy a house? These are very real fears. But when you write it down, when you analyze it, when you feel it, when you have a better look at things, you'll see that some clarity comes up. And that's when you're going to start receiving creative ideas. Like, well, what if we book this venue just for the ceremony instead? Because I really want this venue, but it's too expensive to have the reception there. But I can book it for ceremony. What if my mother-in-law really thinks that $6,000 for a photographer is a ludicrous amount, like ridiculous amount? I just can't, unbelievable, unheard of. How do I show her that this is now the industry pricing without sounding so snarky, so without being passive aggressive? We also have to understand that whatever it is that we're scared of, especially the perception of other people, most of them is actually the perception of other people. That, oh,
She wasted her money on that. Like, she should have not spent too much on this. Like, she spent $40 on this little thing. Oh my God, what a waste of money.
that's what we're scared of, isn't it?
Oh my God, that's her dress. She spent like $5,000 on that. It looks like you can buy that somewhere else for like $1,000 or $2,000.
That's what we're scared of sometimes. Having a vision, having an actual breakdown of what we're feeling can help us navigate it. We can create scripts around it. We can create creative solutions. We can navigate difficult conversations better because we know where we stand. We know that we've done our research. You've done your research, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't book the first photographer that came through the door. Even if you booked that first photographer, I know that you've already been eyeing that person for the longest time. So it makes sense. Like, if that's your dream, if you really want to work with that photographer, what are we scared of? What is the fear? Tell me, what's coming up there? When you start journaling, you're going to slowly peel off the layers and you'll know more about the fears and the feeling. And this will enable you to be in conversations without being defensive. Because this is your wedding. You deserve to not just enjoy the actual wedding, but to also enjoy the whole wedding planning process. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Little Book of Mindful Wedding Planning series. Your comments, questions, and support mean the world to us. And I can't wait to hear from you in the comments section below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can never miss an episode. If you found today's episode valuable, please give it a thumbs up so it can reach more people. Thank you so much, lovelies. See you on the next episode. Bye!